Hi, this is Jeff Lesher with What's the Point? And the point this week is what motivates your people? And should it be the thing that in fact motivates your people? And the inspiration from the point comes from comments made by a young man, Trevor Lawrence, who will be the overall #1 pick in the NFL draft next week. And this young man, who played fantastic football in college, and really ever since he was about a sophomore in high school, was projected to be a first-round draft choice in the NFL. So he's used to a lot of media attention. He had the temerity to suggest in an interview with Sports Illustrated that football is not the only thing important to him in his life. And the initial reaction was, oh my gosh, can we afford to draft somebody to play football for us for whom football is a priority enough to be an incredibly great player for a number of years, demonstrating that greatness at every level of his career? To play football if football isn't the only priority. Oh my gosh, and what are these kids thinking today? As leaders, you need to be processing this information as though it's relevant to you, because it is in fact relevant to you. What motivates your people? What should motivate your people? And how can you push the buttons they have in the measure and in the order that they may respond best to? Years ago, I had the great privilege of doing a lot of work with a large health system in the Baltimore, Washington area. And I worked with a lot of nurse managers who had scores, if not hundreds, of direct reports technically. And they would complain that their young nurses wanted them, as their nurse manager, to be happy that they showed up to work. And I said, well, aren't you happy that they've showed up for work? And the answer was universally, well, yeah. And in fact, most of these people that were used as the examples were people that the nurse managers really counted on to be significant parts of their staff. So the price of admission essentially was, hey, I'm glad to see you. How hard can that be? And oh, by the way, the expression of appreciation, gratitude, is something that cleanses and elevates us, not just the person to whom we express it. And we know all of that. Well, let's go back to the motivation thing. What motivates your people is what motivates your people. We spend so much time imagining and projecting onto others what we think should be important to them, what we want to be important to them, and to some extent, that extrinsic motivation is in fact important and relevant, and for us to curate, but we also have to align it with what's important to them. Intrinsic motivation, what really lights them up. These external motivators, so-called, like bonuses, especially bonuses that aren't connected directly to the work that they do and directly to the outcomes that we create as companies, are proven not to work very well. And yet we think we want money to be the answer to a lot of our questions because, frankly, it's easier. And our inherent laziness and desire for clarity is such that we default to things that don't work. What's important to your people is what's important to your people. I know that may sound murky, but I'm telling you, that's the straightest answer that I can give you. And the way you find out, wait for it, is you ask. And you observe. And you manipulate, I will say that, over time, so that you can even better align and connect the things that you need to be important to members of your team, and the things that are important to them individually as people. We get so caught up in terms like human resources and human capital and talent and other things, I'm sure, but those come immediately to mind, that we forget that those are people, that our organization is not some inanimate entity. It is actually merely a collection of the people who comprise it. So Trevor Lawrence did us a favor. He was honest. He said, there are other things that are important to me, but football is one of those things. And here's the key thing. He's really good at it, and all you have to do is watch him play to see that. Knowing what to measure and make sure that those measures are productive within your environment, that also is the point. What matters to them is what matters to them, therefore it matters to you. And if they're good at what they do and produce the outcomes that you want in ways that are consistent with your overall value system, you are in excellent shape and will take you #1 overall. Have a great week.